So, hello and welcome back to another day of attempting to bake. I'm going to make some spooky cupcakes because it is spooky season. I'm going to try and get this into the frame. I got a t-shirt from Smokey Steve and Mark, and in order to not mess it up too badly, I do plan on putting on one of my aprons. But we are going to make some spooky devil's food cupcakes with hopefully some cute little spider webs on top of them when they're done, and we're going to do them in ice cream cone cups. So, wish me luck, and hopefully the camera's not shaking too bad, because for whatever reason my hands are shaking. And yeah, we are going to go ahead and get started. I will let you know what the ingredients are, and then we'll get it going. So this recipe calls for sugar, flour, and I'm going to use my cake flour again, cocoa, baking soda and baking powder, salt, 2 eggs, which they do specify to be at room temperature, a cup of buttermilk, which is still in the refrigerator because I didn't want to get it out just yet, a cup of strong black coffee, oil, and vanilla. I will put the entire recipe in the description box down below, but then what you're going to do is get all your dry stuff into the bowl, kind of sift it all together, add your wet, mix, and it does say that this will be a very, very liquidy batter at first, but it's supposed to make an incredibly moist cake. So let's get moving. Alright, so you get all of your dry ingredients into the bowl and kind of sift or mix them together. I don't actually have a cake sifter, so I am just going to mix them with a fork. This is 2 cups of sugar, so this is a very highly sugary cake mix. And then almost 2 cups, it's, if you're using cake flour, what you do is you measure for every cup of cake, of all-purpose flour that you would use, it's 1 cup plus 1 tablespoon of cake flour. So the recipe called for 1 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, so I used a cup and 3/4 of cake flour plus 3 tablespoons. And then you need a teaspoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of salt, and 2 teaspoons of baking soda. So you get that all sifted together, and then you're going to add your wet ingredients and blend for 2 minutes. So let me get that done. Alright, so to our mixture, we added a cup of buttermilk, 2 eggs, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, a cup of strong black coffee, and a half a cup of oil. Can't forget the oil. So that is what we have. I am going to turn on the noisy blender here in just a minute, but I don't want powder going everywhere, so I'm going to kind of pre-moisten everything first. Which is something I am slowly learning to do, because if you just stick your blender in and go, it becomes very messy very fast. So, let's give her a blend. I don't know if you can tell, but I got a slightly quieter blender while I was in Houghton. Alright, so after about 2 minutes of mixing, we have no dry spots and no lumps left. So now all that is going to happen is we are going to slowly and carefully, because they were right, this is very, 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 it's a very liquidy batter. So we are going to somehow spoon it into our cupcakes, which are actually going to be in ice cream cones because I thought that would be a lot of fun. I also forgot to say, we are going to heat up our oven to 350, and so let me get my cupcake ice cream cones all set, and I will show you, hopefully, I think I'm going to use a ladle to do it, because this is kind of like a soup, so we'll see how it turns out. Alright, as you can see, this is probably going to be really, 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 really messy. It says to fill them up about 3/4 of the way, and yeah, it also, I'm very glad that I followed the advice of putting a cupcake liner in the bottom, because this is already a little bit on the sloppy side, and that will save on cleanup a little bit, I think. But yeah, we are going to fill these up, and then we are going to put them in our 350-degree oven for 20 to 30 minutes. I'm going to start checking them at around 20 minutes. Yeah, I am a very, very messy human, which is why I'm really glad that I got an apron, because it's going to save this nice t-shirt that I got from Smoky Steve and Mark from being completely ruined. Also, with the leftover batter, I have a sheet pan that I've lined with parchment paper for ease. And what I'm going to do with that is attempt to make a coffin-shaped layer cake. Don't know if it's going to turn out or not. I will definitely take you along and show you how it works. But if it doesn't turn out at all, please forgive me. I am not actually a cake decorator, although I'm going to keep trying, because I'm having a lot of fun doing it. But this is not exactly... I did bake for a lot of years, but it was breads, not so much sweet stuff, except just for my own pleasure. So, unlike the cake decorators at the bakery that I worked at, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. But that's okay. That's half the fun, and as long as it tastes good, if it doesn't look perfect, or if you slop it all over the table like I just did, it's all good. So I'm going to finish filling these and get my sheet pan prepped, and we'll see how much of that gets filled up. So give me a minute and I'll be right back. Alright, so I have my sheet pan. I lined it with parchment. I have no idea if this is going to work or if this is even how you are supposed to do this, but you know what? Cooking is all about experimentation and fun, right? So let's experiment and have fun, because I have that much batter left and no more ice cream cones to make cupcakes. And actually, I don't even have another cupcake pan. So we're going to do this. Wish me luck. It kind of looks like a chocolate skating rink. And I'm not sure how long to bake it for, because it's awfully thin. So I'm just going to keep on checking it after about the first 10 minutes and just keep checking it. So if it turns out, you will be the first to, well, the second to know. I'll be the first to know. And if it's absolutely terrible, I'll still let you know. Alright, so everybody is ready for the oven, which is almost up to temperature, because silly me forgot to actually preheat while I was mixing. So hopefully I can transfer this into the oven without spilling anything. Since I don't have another hand, you're just going to have to trust me, or I will just tell you if I spill stuff, because I don't want to try and do this one-handed. Anyway, and then after that, I'm going to start checking this guy around 10 minutes, seeing if maybe he's ready. These, though, it says about 20 to 30 minutes, so I'm going to start checking those around 20 minutes. So, here we go. Alright, we are at the 10-minute mark, and I just checked the middle of my cake, and it's not quite there yet, so I'm going to give it another 3 minutes. As you can see, our cupcakes are rising, and I might have overfilled it, but who knows. Anyway, we're going to give this another couple of minutes and check it again. Right, I hit 13 minutes and the sheet cake is actually done. The cupcake's nowhere near done and kind of oozing over, but Halloween, obviously. Alright, I'm going to pull this out and let it start cooling and let these cupcakes finish baking. So honestly, I'm not going to lie, that came out a lot more smoothly than I thought it was going to. So I now have a lot more hope for my coffin cake, as long as I can cut out the shape correctly. We'll see. But anyway, yeah, that is going to cool. My cupcakes have another 8.5 minutes before I check them. And yeah, that's where we are. Alright, so as you can see, it's something. This one kind of fell. They all kind of fell in the middle, but they are now cooked all the way through. It ended up taking about 33 minutes. And even with the cupcake liners, I had a little bit of overflow. So yes, I filled these up just a hair too much. But you know what? You live and you learn. So we are going to let these cool. And I am going to taste... Okay, the cake is actually really, really good. So I can definitely say, even if you wanted to do this just as a cake recipe, yeah, it's really good. Those pieces are crunchy, obviously, because they were edge pieces. And then I also cut out my coffin shape. I'm going to see how many layers I can get. I think I'm going to be able to make 2 coffin cakes once this is all cooled. And then once it's cooled, I'm going to wrap it and stick it in the freezer so it's easier to frost, because that is a tip I read that I'm going to give a try. Other than that, once these are cooled, I am going to ice them and try and do spider webs on some, and then on the others I bought these cute little eyeball sprinkles that I'm going to put on. So we'll see how it works out. It might be cute, it might be terrible. I'm kind of actually liking the way it dripped, though. We're going to go with I did that on purpose. Yep, totally did it on purpose. Anyway, we'll see how it looks when I am done decorating here in a little bit. Okay, so I'm not going to lie, I actually have no idea if you're supposed to cut out your cake pieces before you freeze/cool it, or just after it's been slightly cooled. So I'm just going to wing it and cut out 4 shapes now, and hopefully it doesn't all fall apart. Wish me luck. Alright, so I have my 4 shapes cut out, and let me tell you, the cake itself, like if you just wanted to make this as a cake just to eat, is unbelievably good. So I definitely will be using this recipe again. I think what I'm going to do is try and lift this out and kind of get the big chunks out from around it, and then cool this down even further, maybe even freeze it for a few hours so that it all pops off there a little bit easier. So yeah, in the meantime, these guys are almost cool enough to frost. So I am amazed and pleased to announce that it worked. I'm going to move these guys into the freezer for a couple of hours so that I can slap them together and frost them easily. And I have this wonderful pan of absolutely, or plate, of absolutely delicious cake that will just be for snacking. It's, yeah, probably not something that I need to eat, but it tastes really good, so I'm going to cover it with the plastic wrap and not eat it all in one go, because I'm going to have these coffin cakes to eat later, and I also need to work on frosting my cupcakes. So, not gonna lie here, I 100% cheated and just bought ready-made frosting because it honestly looked a lot easier to do. So what I'm going to do is try and frost these. This one with the hole in it, the ones that fell are just going to have a lot more icing than the rest of them, I guess. Because, hey, that's life. But I'm going to do half of them with white icing and eyeballs, and the other half is going to be with chocolate icing, and I'm going to try to do spider webs on top with a package of this cookie icing that I bought. I'm going to try and draw spider webs on them, and we shall see how it turns out. Again, wish me all the luck in the world, because I have never tried this before. But hey, it sounded like fun. So, I learned that even sloppy, not amazing spider webs are kind of hard to draw, at least with that cookie icing bag. My fingers are all cramped now. This one I decided to just make look like a regular ice cream cone. A chocolate vanilla swirl. And now I'm going to put eyeballs onto my vanilla ones, and then I'm going to do some reverse trick-or-treating and take some of these to neighbors. Hopefully they'll appreciate them and really enjoy them. But anyway, until I do the coffin cakes, that's going to be it for now. Well, I will show you once I get the eyeballs on these before I take them over to the neighbor. Alright, well, there we go with that. They look amateurish, but then again, I'm an amateur, so I'm not going to complain too much. I kind of like the eyeballs. I hope they don't taste terrible. It just said that they're candy eyeballs, so I don't know what they actually taste like. Anyway, I'm going to do some reverse trick-or-treating and take some neighbors a sweet treat. Alright, so I am going to unwrap my two of these. I actually cut 4 of them because I'm going to make 2 coffin cakes. Odds are one will end up looking way better than the other. But they've been in the freezer for several hours now to make them supposedly easier to frost. So I'm going to frost them both. I'm just doing it double chocolate because one's for me and one is for my son Ian. And we both decided that double chocolate sounded really, really good. So that is what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to use the cookie icing and kind of do some detailing on the top or the lid. But that is the plan. Hopefully it turns out. We'll check in on it here in a minute. So what I did was put a layer of the chocolate icing in between, and then I'm going to cover the entire top. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other cake, and then I'm thinking I'll put some piping around the edge and maybe write "Rest in Peace" on it? I don't know. Is this the best ever? No. But that's okay. I think it's going to taste good, and it kind of looks cute. Maybe. Alright, we have 2 coffins that now need a little bit of embellishment. And then, once the cake thaws out enough, I plan on eating one. So, I'm going to put a few embellishments on it and call it as good as it's going to get. Actually, I think I'm going to take some of the crumbled up cake and put it around to kind of disguise my very messy icing that I have done. And then call it good. And, you know, it's kind of bad. I was thinking about, as I was doing this and thinking about it more, this would be good with like a whipped cream layer in between the layers, or if I had thought about it in enough time, it probably would have been good with a layer of ice cream in between. But alas, I did none of those things, so I'm going to take my remaining cookie icing, and I am going to, I don't know, do like a RIP and a little bit of an outline and call it a day. So, anyway, I will show you the final product when I get it. Alright, so there we go. I have 2 caskets ready for eating. Freshly dug cake dirt. It should taste good. Is it the best looking thing on earth? No, but that's okay, because I happen to know that the cake at least tastes amazing. And that is the most important part of anything that you make. So I hope everybody had a fantastic Halloween. I hope that you guys all got to trick or treat if that's something that you do. If not, well, actually, this will be going up the morning of Halloween, so I hope that you get to trick or treat or have a fantastic party or whatever it is that you do. And no matter what, have a great day, and I will see you later.